Okay, so in today's world, right, it feels like we're just constantly swimming in information, new challenges popping up all the time.
Absolutely. It's a lot.
And you get caught, between wanting to jump on a new idea,
Mhm.
innovate, but also that very real fear of sinking time, money, everything into something that, well, maybe it just doesn't work out.
That's the core tension, isn't it? Speed versus certainty.
Exactly. So how do you make those smart calls quickly? Test your best ideas without that huge risk hanging over you. Today, we're going to try and cut through some of that uncertainty. We're doing a deep dive into a concept that, yeah, sounds maybe a bit techy or like jargon,
Mm.
but it's actually a super versatile strategy, really, for anyone with a new idea, a project, even just a tricky problem. We're talking about the minimum viable product, the MVP.
That's right. And our mission today really is to unpack what an MVP truly is. Like, get past the buzzwords. Understand why it's so critical for, well, actual innovation, for solving problems effectively. And importantly, we're drawing heavily from the minimum viable product playbook to give you a hopefully clear roadmap on how to actually build one and use it.
Absolutely. And this isn't just for, Silicon Valley types or product managers.
No, definitely not.
Whether you're dreaming up a business, trying to improve something at work, or honestly just curious about how successful things get started. This deep dive should have some pretty surprising insights and real practical takeaways, things you can actually use.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. Set the foundation.
Yeah.
Minimum viable product. Like we said, it gets thrown around a lot, can lead to some confusion. So, based on the playbook, what's the core idea? What is an MVP?
Right. So at its heart, the playbook defines it as the simplest functional version of a product. And it's specifically designed to test one core hypothesis about what users actually value.
Okay, functional being key there.
Absolutely key. It's not just like a half-finished thing or a elite version. It has to actually work. It needs to deliver just enough value to solve a real user problem, but in the most basic way possible.
Hmm.
The goal isn't just launching something. It's about learning. Finding out if your main idea really has legs, before you commit all those resources.
That difference, not incomplete, but just enough to learn, feels really important.
It is.
I guess it's easy to misunderstand that minimum part, though. What are some big misconceptions the playbook points out? Where do people often go wrong?
Oh yeah, that's where things get really interesting because these misunderstandings, they can totally derail the whole point.
Right.
So one really common one is thinking an MVP is just a prototype.
Ah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, but a prototype usually just shows how something might work. Could be a
Yeah,
drawing, a mock-up you click through, often not fully functional.
more like a visual guide.
Exactly. But the playbook is super clear. An MVP is functional. It works. Real users can use it to achieve that core outcome. It's not just a picture. It's a live test.
Got it. So it's about testing through actual use, not just showing an idea.
Mm.
What about features? Is the goal to pack in a bunch of stuff? That feels like another trap.
Oh, it's a huge trap. The playbook hits this hard. It says an MVP should be, and I like this phrasing, feature scarce but outcome rich.
Feature sparse, outcome rich. Okay.
Yeah. It means you have to be ruthless, cut out anything that doesn't directly help solve that one core user problem you're testing. It's all about delivering that essential outcome, not showing off every cool thing you could build.
That takes discipline.
It really does.
Yeah.
I remember working with a team, they had this list of 5 must-have features for their MVP. We pushed them, got them focused on just one, the absolute core. And the feedback they got on that one well-done feature was way more valuable than they'd ever have gotten from 5 half-baked ones.
Makes sense. And what about feedback, especially negative feedback? Launching something minimal. It's scary. People might complain. Isn't that a sign the MVP failed?
The playbook actually flips that idea completely on its head.
Oh, how so?
It argues that complaints aren't just okay, they're actually invaluable. Gold, even.
Really? Complaints are good.
Think about it. If someone takes the time to complain, it means they used it. They engaged with it enough to have an opinion. And crucially, they cared enough to tell you.
Okay. I see where you're going.
That feedback points directly to what needs fixing, where the friction is. It gives you a roadmap. A user who says nothing, that's far worse. Silence often means indifference. No engagement, no learning. Complaints mean they care.
That's a fantastic way to reframe it. Silence is the real failure. Complaints are just data points.
Exactly. Data you can act on.
So bringing it back to our listener, someone who wants to learn fast, avoid big mistakes. Why should they really care about this MVP approach? What's the bottom line benefit of thinking this way?
Well, if you connect it to that bigger picture, MVPs are fundamentally about reducing risk systematically.
De-risking.
Yeah. The playbook outlines a few key benefits that really hit home for anyone wanting efficiency. First, it directly helps you avoid building the wrong thing. Simple as that.
Instead of just guessing or arguing internally.
Right. You test your main idea with actual users. You turn assumptions into evidence. You shift from hoping it works to finding out if it works.
Which saves not just money, but also, time, effort, emotional energy.
Precisely, which leads right into the second benefit. Speed to insight. You launch faster, you learn faster. It's that simple. In markets that change so quickly, being able to learn and adapt fast, that's maybe your biggest edge.
Agility, yeah.
And that naturally means benefit number 3. You save money and time. You stop yourself from pouring resources into a big, complex product that ultimately nobody might want. It's about being smart, iterative, small steps, validated steps.
So instead of that giant multi-year, maybe million-dollar gamble.
You could potentially get critical validation in weeks, maybe for just a fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
It's a different scale of investment for learning.
Okay, that's compelling. What else?
Then there's the power of getting real-world feedback. And this isn't just surveys or opinions. It's watching what people actually do. How do they really use your solution? That behavioral data, especially when you combine it with talking to users, gives you such a deep understanding.
Observing actions, not just words.
Exactly. And finally, maybe the broadest benefit. An MVP helps reduce risk overall. Every test, every learning cycle, you're not just validating the product idea, you're actively making the entire development process less risky. You turn potential big failures into manageable course corrections or pivots.
Okay, understanding the what and the why is great, but the how, that's often the tricky part. And you mentioned the playbook really digs into the practical side. It says there isn't just one way to do an MVP.
Exactly. That's a key takeaway. Choosing the right type of MVP is critical for getting the specific learning you need. The playbook lays out a kind of spectrum of options, each suited for different goals.
Okay, so what are some of these flavors of MVP?
Well, for starters, there's the landing page MVP. This is super simple, just a single web page. It explains your product idea, what problem it solves, and has a clear call to action like sign up for early access or notify me on launch.
So basically testing interest before building anything.
Precisely. Its main job is to see if people are even interested. Gauge that initial demand. Minimal effort, potentially huge insight. The playbook does caution, though, that while it's great for checking initial interest, it might not tell you if people will actually use a complex solution or pay for it.
Right. It tests the hook, maybe not the whole experience.
Good way to put it. Then there's the video MVP. Dropbox is the famous example here.
Oh, yes, I've heard about that one.
They made a video showing how their file syncing would work, highlighting the pain point it solved. They didn't build the complex tech first. They just showed the concept.
And tested the reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a movie trailer for your idea. Does the concept resonate? Does it get people excited? Again, testing demand without heavy lifting up front.
Smart. What else?
For things that are more like services or involve complex steps, there's the concierge MVP. Here, you actually deliver the service manually to your first few users. You basically are the software or the system.
Whoa, okay. Hands-on.
Very hands-on. It's perfect for really understanding the user's journey step by step.
Yeah.
You validate the workflow, find all the pain points before you even think about automating it. The downside, obviously, is it doesn't scale at all.
But you learn incredibly detailed things about the process. You become the system.
You got it. A related idea is the Wizard of Oz MVP. This one's clever. To the user, the product looks fully automated, slick, maybe AI-powered. But behind the scenes, there's a human pulling the levers, doing the work manually. Like the wizard behind the curtain.
Oh, okay, I get the name now.
It lets you simulate a really complex system and test the user experience without actually building all the back-end technology yet. Great for testing perceived automation.
That's sneaky, but effective for learning.
Very. Then, if you have more of a product idea, you might do a single feature MVP. Build just one core feature, the absolute minimum needed to deliver value, and launch that.
Focused.
Super focused. Great for testing the mechanics of a specific interaction or proving that one unique part of your idea works and resonates, lets you really drill down on a critical function.
Okay. And is there one that's seen as like the ultimate test?
Well, the playbook suggests the pre-order MVP is probably the strongest signal of real demand.
Getting people to pay up front.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You ask customers to commit, to actually pay for your product before it even exists. If people are willing to open their wallets based on the promise, that's about the clearest sign you can get that you're solving a real problem they value.
Wow. Yeah, that's putting your money where your mouth is for the customer. So many options. Okay, now we know the what, the why, the different types. How do we actually build one effectively? You said the playbook has a roadmap.
Yes, a 7-step roadmap. And it's critical because it forces you to be disciplined, structured about it. Step 1, define the problem.
Okay.
And the playbook stresses, be laser specific. Don't build for, busy people. Build for freelance graphic designers who struggle with tracking project hours for invoicing.
Get really niche.
Really niche. The narrower your focus on the problem and the user, the clearer everything else becomes the solution, the tests, everything. It cuts out so much noise.
Right. Prevents trying to be everything to everyone. What's next?
Step 2, identify the core value proposition. What is the absolute single most important job your product needs to do right now for that specific user to solve that specific problem?
The one key thing.
The one key thing. Remember, it's not a lead version. It's the essence, the fundamental utility.
Okay. Problem, core value,
Yeah.
then features.
Then features. Step 3, prioritize features ruthlessly. This is often the hardest part.
I bet.
The playbook's advice is pretty blunt. List out every possible feature you can think of. Then, kill 90% of them.
90%. Wow.
Yeah. It forces you to ask 2 brutal questions for every single feature. 1, is this absolutely essential for the user to get that core value? And 2, can we test our main hypothesis without this feature? If the answer to that second one is yes, it's gone. For now, anyway.
That's tough, but I see how it keeps it minimum.
Exactly. It helps distinguish between testing if the core value is right versus testing how to make it grow later, value first.
Okay, ruthless prioritization. Then what?
Step 4, choose the right MVP type. We just talked about the different flavors, landing page, concierge, etc. Now you pick the one that actually fits what you need to learn. If you need to see how people use something, a landing page won't cut it. You need something interactive.
Match the method to the learning goal. Makes sense.
Step 5, build and launch fast. The whole point is learning velocity, not perfect code or pixel-perfect design at this stage.
Get it out there.
Get it out there. The playbook really encourages using no-code tools, existing platforms, manual workarounds, whatever gets your test into users' hands quickly. Validation, not polish, is the goal.
Okay, speed is key. What's step 6?
Step 6, measure and learn. This is crucial.
Yeah.
You absolutely must decide beforehand what success looks like for this test.
Define your metrics up front.
Yes. Is it signups, conversion rate? How many people use it daily? Where do they drop off? You need clear metrics tied to your hypothesis. And the playbook stresses collecting both kinds of data. Quantitative, the numbers, the analytics, and qualitative, actually talking to users, understanding the why behind the numbers.
The what and the why.
You need both for the full picture.
And the final step.
Step 7, iterate or pivot. Use everything you just learned from your measurements. Either improve the MVP based on the feedback, maybe add the next most important feature, or kill features that clearly aren't working. Or, if the data shows your core hypothesis was wrong, be ready to pivot. Change direction based on the evidence. It's a cycle. Build, measure, learn, repeat.
That's a really clear, actionable process. So pulling it together, a good MVP, based on the playbook, solves a real problem, has just enough function to do that, has clear success metrics, gets in front of real users, and this is key, leads to either solid validation or a smart, data-driven pivot.
Exactly. But, this does raise an important point. Are MVPs always the right answer?
Good question. When might it not be the way to go?
Well, the playbook acknowledges it's not a silver bullet. There are situations where an MVP isn't appropriate or even possible. For instance, highly regulated industries, think medical devices, aerospace.
Right, you can't exactly launch a minimum viable pacemaker.
Precisely. Safety, compliance, those aren't features you add later. They have to be baked in, fully robust from day one. The risks are just too high.
Obvious reasons there. What else?
Another case is, if you're not even clear on the problem yet, an MVP tests a solution hypothesis. If you're still fuzzy on what problem you're actually solving for whom, you need more research before you start building anything. Problem discovery comes first.
So don't build a solution looking for a problem.
Exactly. Also, sometimes for internal tools within a company, the requirements might already be super well defined. Everyone knows exactly what's needed. In that case, the learning part of the MVP might be less critical because the needs are already validated internally.
Okay, if the specs are locked down.
And maybe one more. If you already have overwhelming proof of demand, maybe through pre-orders or massive wait list or existing market data. If the need is absolutely crystal clear, sometimes you just need to build the thing. The main validation might have already happened, and an MVP could just slow you down.
Those are really important exceptions. Knowing when not to use it is just as valuable.
Definitely.
Okay, let's make this really concrete. Can we look at some famous examples? Companies that started with super simple MVPs. It's always inspiring to hear those stories.
Oh, absolutely. The playbook implicitly draws on these kinds of stories. Think about Dropbox. We mentioned the video.
Right, the explainer video MVP.
Before they tackled the huge technical challenge of building reliable file syncing, they made that simple video showing how it would work. They put it out there, targeted the right tech-savvy audience, and the signups flooded in.
For something that didn't even exist yet.
Exactly. That massive interest validated their core hypothesis. People desperately wanted easy file syncing across devices. That validation gave them the green light, the confidence to go build the real thing.
Such a smart, low-cost way to test a big technical bet. Amazing.
Totally. Then there's Airbnb. Their start was even more basic.
There's air mattresses, right?
The air mattresses. The founders literally rented out space in their own apartment during a big conference in San Francisco when hotels were all booked up. That was their MVP.
The ultimate concierge MVP.
You got it.
Yeah.
It directly tested the core idea. Would strangers pay to stay in someone else's home? Would people be willing to rent out their space? They learned so much firsthand about trust, pricing, logistics, just by doing it themselves on a tiny scale.
Incredible. Learning by doing, literally.
And another classic, often cited in these discussions, is Zappos, selling shoes online.
How did they start minimal? Shoes seem like you need inventory.
That was the genius. The founder, Nick Swinmurn, didn't want to risk buying tons of inventory up front. So as MVP, he went to local shoe stores,
Okay.
took photos of their shoes, put the photos up on a simple website. When someone actually ordered a pair online,
He'd run to the store.
he'd go to the store, buy the shoes at full retail price,
Yeah.
and then ship them to the customer.
No way. That's incredible.
It proved two massive things with almost zero financial risk. One, people buy shoes online, even without trying them on first. And two, he could handle the logistics, all without owning a single pair of shoes initially.
That is just brilliant. Validating the entire model step by step. These examples really drive home how powerful and honestly how creative you can be with the MVP concept.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This has been seriously illuminating. We've really dug into MVPs. And it keeps coming back to that core message from the minimum viable product playbook, doesn't it? It's not just about building fast.
No, it's about learning fast.
Learning fast. And the more focused your MVP the playbook suggests, the clearer those signals you get back will be, which lets you make those smart, informed choices, reduce that risk, and really accelerate things in the right direction.
Yeah, and if you connect that to the bigger picture, the lesson from the playbook is that real innovation, it doesn't usually spring fully formed from someone's head in perfection.
Right.
It comes from this disciplined process of learning, iterating, engaging with real users, testing real behaviors, not just theories. And like the playbook reminds us, launching your MVP, that's really just the beginning.
The start of the learning journey.
Exactly. The real deep dive, the real value comes from what you do with the insights you gather after that launch, how you adapt and evolve.
So true. Okay, so here's a final thought for you, our listener, to maybe mull over. Beyond just products or businesses, how could you apply this principle, this idea of learning quickly and starting small, maybe in your own work, or a hobby, or even just tackling everyday problems?
Interesting question.
Think about that next big idea you have. Could you strip it down, find its absolute core, figure out a really simple, low-risk way to test if it actually works, if it actually provides value before going all in?
A mini MVP for everyday challenges.
Exactly. Something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope it sparks some new ideas and maybe a new way to approach your next big challenge.
If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and share it, with others who might benefit too. To learn more about product management and digital marketing, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.